I'm going to put him on the spot and see how many ECGs he can get right. Make sure you stick around to the end. Now back to the video. How to learn heart block in 5 minutes. There are 3 main types that you need to know. In first degree heart block, it takes longer for an impulse to travel from the atria to the ventricles. Therefore, on the ECG, we see a prolonged PR interval that does not change. So, looking at this ECG, the first PR interval is 8 small squares. The second PR interval is also 8 small squares. So the PR is prolonged and all the PRs are the same length. Time for second degree heart block. This is broken down into 2 subtypes. mobiz 1, also known as Wenke back, and mobiz 2. In mobiz 1, we see a functional suppression of the AV node. The PR interval will get longer and longer, and then we have a P wave but no QRS complex. So if we look at the first PR interval, it is 7 small squares. The next one is now 8 small squares. And then we have a P wave but no QRS complex. And then we have another P wave and then a QRS. There is progressive PR, prolongation, and then a failure of AV conduction. That's mobiz 1. And now mobiz 2 is very similar, except it's caused by a failure of the Purkinje fibers. The PR interval is constant, however, sometimes there's a P wave but no QRS. So if we look at the first PR interval is 4 small squares. The next PR interval is also 4 small squares. But then we have 2 P waves that don't conduct, and then it resets. So a constant PR interval, but sometimes AV conduction fails. That's mobiz 2. Now time for the easiest of all, third degree heart block. This is where the atria and ventricles contract independently, and therefore there is total dissociation of the P and QRS. Let me show you. So looking at the P waves and the QRS complexes, you can see that they are totally independent of each other, and that defines third degree heart block. So I'm here with my special guest for our new segment, The Hot Seat. He's a senior medical student. I'm going to put him on the spot and see how many ECGs he can get right.
Damn, I mean, I haven't looked at an ECG in a while, but let's give this a go. Let's see. So there doesn't seem to be an increase in the PR interval from what I can see, but there's a drop beat. So that is a type 2 heart block, mobiz 2.
Okay, do you think you got it right? Should we find out?
Let's find out.
Okay. Well done. So this is mobiz type 2.
Lucky guess.
PR interval is 4 small squares, and then there's a drop beat. Well done. Good job.
Okay, so...
Don't overthink it.
Okay, so there's no drop beat.
Okay, yes.
It's a prolonged PR interval. It's a type 1 heart block.
Yes, sir.
That is what I'm going with.
First degree heart block.
Another good guess.
With a 6 small squares and no AV conduction failure. Well done for making it this far. I know it's quite tough, but I hope you found this useful. Now, if you want more right now, you don't want to wait, check out our Instagram. We have a lot of posts out there that I'm sure you'll find helpful. In a bit.